welcome to College Hoop Buzz here at the Web. I'm Matthew Johnson here to talk about basketball all around the country, and of course, you're running Bulldogs. I'm alongside Quentin Burton and Jared Murray. How you doing, guys?
Doing good.
Doing well, Matt.
All right, guys. What did you guys take away from the first week of college basketball?
The first weekend I took out of college basketball was that the big ranked teams crushed over everybody, all the teams, and then the big upset for Holy Cross beating Harvard. I think that was really good for Holy Cross to get their name out there and stuff like that. What about you, Jay?
Yeah, you want to talk about Harvard. I mean, a lot of people are picking them to maybe make a deep run in the tournament, and that's a crushing defeat, that upset by Holy Cross. Well, I got a chance to watch Kentucky last night, and they're the real deal. 10 big guys. Coach Calipari's got some quality players on his team. Kansas will be back, though. Will Self will get that team rallying. One thing I've noticed is Florida's who I thought they were. They're not quite the team that everyone's making them out to be. They're probably not a top 10 team. Billy Donovan there in Gainesville has got to replace 4 starters from last year, including the elusive Patrick Young.
What did you guys take away from Gardner-Webb's basketball so far?
From Gardner-Webb's game against College of Charleston, I'll take away the player of the game, Jarvis Davis. Jarvis had 22 points. He had a few three-pointers, transferred from Central Florida, and we expected him to have this kind of game. And we look forward to him doing these more. Right, Jerry?
Yeah, going into this season, a lot of people were questioning Tim Kraft's second season here at Gardner-Webb. And where's the scoring going to come from? And Davis and also Hill have kind of answered the bell for that. They had a big game against LSU, played tough with them, played close, and a high-scoring loss, which is surprising. It came back, their defense got better. They still put up points on the board and beat College of Charleston. So hopefully they can go into the Virgin Islands, the Paradise Classic, and get a victory or two.
What college team here in the state of North Carolina do you take? Do you take the Duke Blue Devils, or do you take the Tar Heels of Carolina and Chapel Hill?
Well, I might go with Carolina with this one because of Marcus Page. Now, Carolina is going to have to do well if Marcus Page does well. Now, if they're going to have to run, if they're going to run the table in ACC, they're going to have to rely on Marcus Page to do the scoring and the assists, and rely on the big man to get the rebounds. So, what you got, Jerry?
Well, I agree with you, Quentin. Marcus Page, he's going to be an All-American. I just don't see or trust him and Coach Roy Williams putting the two together and guiding this team to the top of the ACC. For that matter, even maybe to be better than Duke Blue Devils. I really like Coach Krzyzewski. I really like the freshman, Joel Okafor. Him teamed up with Quinn Cook coming back and bringing back a lot of scoring. He's got that outside range. I like Duke and then the state of North Carolina.
Who do you guys believe will win the championship this year?
I got a couple teams a couple of three away from the ACC championship. I have Carolina first because of Marcus Page. He's going to be an All-American, like you said, Jerry. Then I have Louisville. Louisville has a good defense, people. Louisville is like a ball hawk on defense. They will take the ball away from you. They'll probably have more steals, their turnovers. And under Rick Pitino, that's what he likes. He likes to get steals. He likes to get fast breaks. And then third team I like to have is Syracuse because Syracuse 2-3 zone defense is hard to figure out for most teams because people have not seen the 2-3 zone that Syracuse has because all their players have a bunch of wingspans. They have Kevin Durant wingspans, and so that 2-3 zone is going to be hard to get through.
Yeah, and I like that you mentioned Louisville, tough defensive team. Pitino's obviously a great coach. You need to keep an eye on them. You also need to keep an eye on Virginia. ACC champion last year, number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. They returned a lot of starters from last season. But I got to go back to Duke. I got to go back to Okafor and Coach Krzyzewski. And I heard Coach Krzyzewski say last night, this isn't one of the best teams he's coached. They're young, they're evolving, they're going to get better each and every day at practice and in games. But I really like Duke at the end of the season to win the ACC.
That's pretty good, guys. I know both of you have discussed and talked plenty about different players, but who do you think is going to be the player this year to take the all-around ACC Player of the Year?
Well, for my ACC Player of the Year, I have to go back to Marcus Page because Marcus Page is a do or die season for him. And so if he doesn't produce well, Carolina will not produce well. And vice versa. If he does produce well, then Carolina is going to win it all. So, what you got, Jared?
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one, Quentin. Although I do like Marcus Page, I got to stick with Julio Okafor. You know, he might not be the player of the year in the nation like people were making him out to be, that stud freshman. Don't know if he's quite that caliber, but he's a good ball player. And so far this season, his field goal percentage has been really high. He's an all-can-do player. So I really like Julio Okafor's ACC player.
Now, also, the next player of the year is the Naismith Award, the Creator of Basketball Award. Who do you think is going to win the Player of the Year with the Naismith?
I like Frank Kaminsky coming back for Wisconsin, leading the Badgers there in Madison under Bo Ryan. Big Ten, I look for Kaminsky to win a lot of games. Help Wisconsin win a lot of games. Big Ten's kind of down this year. Nebraska and Michigan State will be on a distant doorstep to Wisconsin. I really like Frank Kaminsky to have a huge year this year for Wisconsin and win Player of the Year in the nation.
I'm about to agree with you with that, Jared. Frank Kaminsky, he's just rising up from the starts. His freshman year, he averaged around 10 points a game. Then sophomore year, he averaged 13. And he had a big game last year. He scored his career high. And so, Big Frank, I figured he'd be the next.
That's what makes a solid player.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
What are your Final Four teams that make it to the Final Four this year?
Well, my Final Four pick, first team going to be Wisconsin, just because of Big Frank. And then Arizona. I like Arizona out there in the Pac-12. Then I have Kentucky for one of the seeds. They can go really far because they have all the return starters. And then I have a toss-up between my Final Four pick, and it's between Gonzaga and VCU. I really like both of those teams because they really have good guard play. So what do you got, Jay?
Well, I mentioned how much I like Frank Kaminsky. I like Wisconsin to return to the Final Four like they did last year. Make the short trip down from Wisconsin, Indianapolis, be in the Final Four in Indianapolis. Another team, I'm glad that you mentioned VCU. I really like VCU. Shaka Smart's a great coach. This may be the best team he's had this year. The Rams there, Virginia Commonwealth. I expect them to have a good non-conference season, win a lot of conference games, win their conference, get a good seed, and have a pretty easy path to the Final Four. Another team I really like is Villanova. They've been kind of emerging, making strides in the past few years. It's been a while since they've had a good team. Last year in the kind of new Big East, they won a lot of games. I'm pretty sure they were, the regular season champ, and they kind of fell off. Well, and then this year, some teams are down in the Big East. It's not like the old Big East. There's not a ton of talent, but there's still some good teams. So I hope for Villanova to grab a good seed heading into March and make the trip to the Final Four. One team I probably hinted at the beginning, is Kentucky. Kentucky's a great team, and I don't want to throw this out there yet. In 1975, 1976, Indiana Hoosiers, the last team to go undefeated, run the table, and win the championship. Last year, Wichita State won all their games in the regular season, lost in the tournament. And don't know if Kentucky can do it. It's a really hard thing to do, especially in this day and age. But if there's a team that can do it, it's them, especially in a struggling SEC. I really like Kentucky. I really like Kentucky Wildcats to be cutting down the nets in Indianapolis in April. Who's your team that you think you're going to win a championship?
Although I really like Kentucky because they have team people that can start, and they have most of their players come back and not enter the draft, which I think John Calipari likes because he wants them to mature and just really help them out. But my team that I think is going to be cutting out the nets is Wisconsin because they play fundamental sound basketball, just like I said earlier. Bo Ryan is a really good coach. They play really good offensive basketball because of Frank Kaminsky.
Yeah, they don't make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, they really don't. And Frank Kaminsky and Eddie Decker, that 1-2 punch is they're going to just beat teams on offensive rebounds and putbacks and just field goal percentage in particular. So I really like Wisconsin to be cut down the nets.
Thanks for tuning into this week's College Hoop Buzz here at the Web. Tune in a couple weeks and we'll have a special guest for you. I'm Matthew Johnson.
I'm Jared McMurray.
And I'm Quentin Burton.
See you folks soon.